welcome to this season of the Central New York Business Journal's interviews series. This season, we are focusing on family-owned businesses in Central New York. And my guest today is Jay Murphy, and he is the president and CEO of Murphy and Nolan Incorporated. Hello, Jay. How are you today?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Just to start out, could you tell us all a little bit about Murphy and Nolan and what do you do?
Sure. We're a metals distributor. My grandfather started it with his high school friend in Syracuse, Jack Nolan. So it was Jack Murphy and Jack Nolan. They started in late 1953. So we're celebrating our 70th year in business. And over the years, my father and uncle have been involved. They're both basically retired now. And now it's my brother and I are 50-50 partners.
Great. So you're a third generation business, or are there other generations currently involved?
No, third generation at this point. The next generation is just starting into college. So they've got a little game left yet before they get involved, if they choose to get involved.
So what sorts of firms are your customers?
Our customers are they're varied, but the bread and butter would be contract machine shops, tool and die shops, screw machine houses, contract manufacturers, any number of different sizes. They go from 1 to 2 person job shops up to multinational corporations and everybody in between. We're fortunate to have probably many hundreds, if not thousands, of active customers throughout the Northeast and actually around the world.
So you've been in business quite a while. How would you say that the industry has changed, at least since you've been involved in it?
Well, I think I've been around a little over a quarter of our time. It'll be 27 years for me. I think probably the biggest change over that time, and hearing my father and grandfather talk, is the customer expectations. I think when we first started in the 50s and 60s, 70s, personal relationships were key. You think of some of the old school things, out to dinners, lunches, golf outings, what have you. That was really a key piece of the puzzle, and it still is to some extent today, but much less than it was back in that era. So, customer expectations, conformance to customer requirements. It's now there's just zero tolerance for error on our side, and we have tens of thousands of transactions a year, and 70 people over 3 locations, 3 shifts. So there's a lot of potential for a mistake to be made, and the customers are understanding, but a couple of mistakes will easily kill an account, whereas 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you could cover that up with a well-placed lunch, a box of donuts, or something like that, but no longer.
So as a family-owned business, and what do you think are some of the challenges and opportunities that go along with being a family business?
Well, we're very fortunate. My brother and I work together very well. We work great with Dad and Uncle Bill, and so we've really, compared to some of the things you read, some of the case studies, some of the drama you've heard, we've knock on wood, been able to avoid a lot of that. Maybe it's because I moved to Rochester 25 years ago. So our main office is in Syracuse, and my brother Patrick runs our finance and accounting and IT and HR and all that. And I go back and forth between Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, as both of us do. And so we divide it up functionally. I handle the sales and operations. He does the finance, accounting, etc. But we have nearly 70 people that help us run the business. And so the distance probably has helped. We're not in each other's face every day of the week. And we have different responsibilities, different skill sets. And so we've been able to keep things going with really minimal of the interfamily bitterness or feuds or whatnot that you might read about in some of the trade journals. And we've worked at it. We've engaged outside help, attended seminars and things, done a bunch of reading as much as we can. But it just comes down to doing each other's job and doing it well, and treating the rest of the employees with respect and dignity, and along with the other family members. So we've been fortunate. It's worked out well. We've carried it on. We anticipate continuing. And that's not to say we haven't had any ups or downs or disagreements, but we try and have those discussions in private. And when it comes to the employees or other family members, we have a pretty united front on how we're going to proceed with whether it be a new equipment purchase or a new initiative that we have, something company related. We're certainly in sync when it comes to the public on that.
So do you think that being a family-owned business kind of impacts the way that you're seen either in the community or in your industry?
I think so in Syracuse, especially because we've been there the longest. We started in '53 there. We put a location in Rochester in the early '70s and Buffalo in the 2007. So the name, the family name, if you will, is much more prevalent in Syracuse. We've got a very good loyal customer base in Syracuse. Dad is still very much a part of the Syracuse community. John Bucky Murphy, he's active in all sorts of charitable and nonprofit endeavors. So the company name and the family name has been around in Syracuse for quite a while. My grandparents were very active, involved in the community in Syracuse. Patrick is. I am when I get to town. So we take that seriously and know that certainly we're not I wouldn't say famous, but our building is right on 690 as you drive by. So if it's often people will make the connection, which Murphy are you? Because there's zillions of Murphys in Syracuse. But when you say, oh, we're the steel company on 690, oh yeah, I know who you guys are. Or Dad was active up at St. Joe's Hospital or something like that. They make the connection.
Well, that kind of gets to my next question is that, when we talk to family-owned businesses, the issue of legacy comes up a lot. What would you say is the legacy of Murphy and Nolan, or what would you like it to be when all is said and done?
Well, I think we'll look at the employee standpoint first. We've whether unwritten or discussed, we've had kind of a philosophy that with us, you're probably going to work harder and smarter than you would at our competitors. But at the end of the day, you're going to be better and compensated much more strongly than at our competitors doing the same thing. Now, different industries. We're not a software company. We're not an investment bank. And we're not one of our customers. We're not a screw machine house, so we don't have machinists and welders and that sort of thing. But the bottom line is, from our standpoint, we do our very best to treat our employees as best as possible on the compensation standpoint, even when our facilities or our procedures or things may not be something that you'd read about, in the Wall Street Journal. But when it comes to the bottom line flexibility with either work from home or PTO schedules or bottom line compensation, we try and benchmark ourselves to be at the high end of our competitive spectrum on the employees. Through the community responsibility, we do have a legacy to protect. We want to make sure we're doing right by our customers, by our employees, by family members who aren't involved in the business, but certainly hear about it from time to time. Patrick and I have a sister. She's a school teacher out in the FM school district, and so she's in town and whatnot. So certainly people are going to be familiar with us and mention the company to her, I'm sure, from time to time. So we need to make sure that if we do have any notoriety, it's on the positive side.
And just to conclude, is there anything on the horizon for the company or in the industry in the immediate future that you can tell us about?
Well, probably our biggest change or biggest shift in the business in the last 10 years or so has been a real niche in the aerospace business that we've developed largely out of our Buffalo location, but it certainly affects Syracuse and Rochester as well, and certainly affects all the employees very positively. we have managed to position ourselves to supply several of the larger aerospace customers, not Boeing and Airbus directly, but their subcontractors, and then all down the line of some fairly sophisticated stainless steel, aluminum, some titanium, some specialty alloys that have processes done to them, heat treating and further ultrasonic inspection, et cetera. And so that niche has really grown quite a bit. And because of that, and with that, we've shipped material all over to United Kingdom, to Indonesia, to Philippines, to Mexico, to Canada. I think we may have hit even had a handful of shipments go to Africa. So we may have hit most of the big continents, Australia, occasionally here and there. So, and then from a sales standpoint, we've been fairly active in a couple of trade shows. The Paris Air Show just finished up in June. In France, it's the largest aerospace trade show in the world. It happens every other year. That gets quite a bit of press and the national business press. And then the Farnborough Air Show in England and outside of London. That'll be next year. That's every other year. And then there's an air show in Singapore. So we've that's a small-ish piece of our business, probably only 15-20% of our overall business now, but that's a growing piece as the upstate New York economy is flat to say the least. Certainly, as Micron comes in, that could help with some trickle down to us. That would be interesting. It's a little bit different niche than aerospace, but same idea, a little higher end material, a little more quality driven, conformance to requirements and specifications. So those things are really what we look forward to the future. Our VP of Sales, Tom Ross, is very fond of saying it's Murphy and Nolan, not Murphy or Nolan. So we need both the aerospace and our traditional general line business. You know, the across the street Killian Manufacturing or Manth Brunel or someone like that. You know, those long-time customers that we've had for decades. We still need those and very much appreciate that business. So it's that business and the aerospace niche that we look forward to the future.
Great. Well, Jay, thank you very much for sharing your time and telling us about your company.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great.